All right, so we're here with Nicole, and Nicole is going to talk about these wonderful flavors that they have available in their bombers and also here on tap. So we'll actually be able to taste some of these as well. Now, Nicole, you were saying that you guys you do have a distributorship to Texas, and so you can ship the bombers to Texas if you need to.
We actually ship, I'm pretty sure we ship directly to the customer.
Oh, cool.
Rather than through a distributor.
Oh, nice.
So you can contact us directly and we'll just ship right to you.
And just ship them right to you.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's even better.
Yeah.
So which one of these typically is your bestseller?
The best seller here in the tap room is the IPA.
Okay.
I think Americans are kind of on an IPA kick lately.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm not sure if that's it. It is 78 IBUs, 7.5% alcohol, but the hops in it are not very bitter. They're a little bit more of like a floral kind of bright hop rather than the real bitter hop. And so that's what I like about it. It's a little bit different than any of the other IPAs that they're making in town.
And talk about just the whole concept of being all organic as a brewery and how that started maybe and why that's important.
Yeah, the owners of the brewery are Emily and Chad. And Emily actually taught Chad how to homebrew. She learned from her uncles when she was going to school in Portland. So she in turn taught him, and they practiced for many years, always brewing organic in their garage. They're driving by one day, saw this place, and oh, it's not much bigger than the garage, let's check it out. So they started to rent this and brew beer here. And again, just always organic. They're really into buying local food where you know the farmer, you know the producer, you know where their meat's coming from and stuff like that. And so for them, it was kind of like, why not organic? So organic just means that all of the grain and all the hops that we're using are no pesticides, no herbicides, grown just completely naturally the way it's intended. Grain mill upstairs, forklift the grains up, kind of come down into the mash tun. Like this wash right now.
Okay.
It's our brew kettle. All of our equipment to start was actually buried in the ground. We actually had to dig it up and power wash it off before it found its home here at the brewery. So
Wow.
we're working with, kind of a hodgepodge of equipment. But it works for us. It's great. We've got a 7-barrel system going. We brew every day and make about 1,000 barrels a year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
This is a new thing for us too, the oak barrels. They had Chardonnay in them for the last couple of years. We picked them up from a local winery. And we are aging Imperial Stout and barley wine.
An Imperial Stout and a barley wine.
Yeah, it's a new thing for us. We're really excited about.
So is this more of an experiment for right now?
Yeah, we think it's going to turn out okay though.
Cool.
You know, we have to top them off, and so we taste them every couple of weeks and see how they're doing, and they seem to be doing pretty good.
Right on.
Yeah, one of the barrels was definitely a sour barrel. So, you know, a little fungus from wine can get in there and change it. So we added some vanilla beans to try and
Sure.
yeah, kind of bring it. But yeah, I think it's going to be good.
That'll work.
Yeah. Back here we've got two, we'll have a couple tanks, but two 15-barrel tanks, smaller measurements, little 7-barrel brandies. We have a nice plate wort chiller. Yeah, all your basic standard equipment.
And so for the novice that may not really understand about brewing beer, up here we've got where the mill grain is, and so all of the grains are actually lifted by imagine a forklift up there,
Yep.
and then the grains are milled and they're fresh and they're dropped into the I guess the mash tun, right?
Mash tun, yeah.
Yep. And then after the mash tun goes, and all the sparging happens, you can see they've got a hot water heater right here, which allows the hot water to kind of stay at a constant temperature, and then it eventually ends up here into the boiling kettle. And then imagine after you do the induction of the hops, once that's all burned down, then you're going to transfer it into one of your fermenters here.
Yep, right through the wort chiller and into one of the fermenters.
Into the very good, very good. And then after it gets into that fermenter, about how long are you guys letting it condition?
We're letting it ferment for about a week.
Okay.
And then from there it goes into one of our back brew tanks, our carbonators.
Gotcha.
So we do force carbonate anything. We don't, cake condition or bottle condition anything. Force carbonate and either it's canned or bottled.
Okay.
Bottling line is about as basic as it gets.
Oh wow.
We have a 6-spout filler. And so fill 6 bottles at a time, pass it to the person next to them, or
Wow.
So capping one bottle at a time. It all gets put in cases. We leave it for about a day, and then we come back and we hand label each bottle.
Cool. And about how many people are here in that production?
We have about 4 folks that work down here in the brewery full time.
Okay.
And then a couple of us, help out here and there when needed. If someone's sick, I can jump on the bottling line or make something.
Right on. Very cool, very cool. And then with the kegging, I imagine it's pretty much the same process here?
Yeah, exactly. Just kind of right out of one of these carbonators. You want to hook it up to the keg, fills it up. We just use little nice blue keg caps for markers to let us know what kind of beer is in there. And we service about 15 or 20 local tap accounts.
Okay.
So we have a delivery van that goes out 2 or 3 times a week and delivers beer to local restaurants and places. We also do some self-distribution in the Bay Area as well.
Very good. Have you found any hiccups at all about distributing in other areas that are not local to you guys?
We do have our own distributors that do like San Diego to Portland because we can't cover that area ourselves. And what we find is that distributors do a poor job at best. They have a portfolio of 100 plus beers and wines, and they're trying to sell those to every store they go in. So your beer is going to get mixed up in the shuffle. So we've been personalizing that a little bit. I've been to San Diego 3 times this year. Great beer area, San Diego. So it's like 30th Avenue area, some great beer bars.
Sure.
So I think we have about 5 or 6 tap accounts down there that have our Ginger's Winter Warmer on tap. And sold about a half a pallet of bottles as well. So, head down there a couple times a year and just kind of check in with the accounts, give them some t-shirts, keychains, stuff like that, make sure they're happy and they know they want to keep reordering your beer.
Sure. Cool. Okay.
Hi, I'm Chad Brill. I'm the brewer and owner of Santa Cruz Mountain Brewing. And I started with this project about 5 years ago with my wife. She had the idea of opening our own brewery when I got laid off from the city, and I ended up been a home brewer for 11 years. She taught me how to brew. So that's where I learned all my craft, and then went crazy with it for 11 years. And then we got laid off from the city. For 3 months, it was like a furlough, so I took a class at Davis, got a little more knowledge about the mass brewing business part of it. And then driving around one day, we decided, well, let's just open our own, mainly her. I had 3 months to figure out what I was going to do. I didn't want to go back to the city, so I ended up taking a class at Davis on brewing science. And meanwhile, while I was doing that, I ended up not taking the final because we ended up deciding to open our own brewery. So there's no point to take the 8-hour exam when we're going to open our own. So we were driving around this neighborhood and we found this be a good area and found a sign that said for rent, and that ended up being this spot. So the first thing we did was rented the building. Had no idea how many other things were involved in it with the ABC, and the city and all the blah blah blah. So we rented the building, and then our first purchase was kegs, 5-gallon kegs. We bought probably around 500 of them, and that's all we had. No equipment, but we had kegs. And then we had a meeting with a co-op in Santa Cruz, a home brewing shop where I used to get all my supplies when I was home brewing, 7 Bridges. And 2 guys came out. One guy had the equipment, and one guy was a master brewer already. So we ended up leasing the equipment from them, and Dan, the master brewer, showed me how to mass scale it up to 210 gallons, 7 barrels. And then that's where we started from there, and everything just started falling into place. It has to be a passion. You can't make money at it. You gotta love to make beer. So that's where we ended up, and now we're 5 years into it, and loving it and hating it at sometimes. It's all good.
Sure.
A hobby turned into a profession, so can't complain about that.